Hey everyone, how's it going tonight? So, thank you all for joining. Let me make sure that I'm working out all of my technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, beautiful. So hopefully everyone can see me and hear me. It's going to be a couple minutes. While you're here, go ahead and I have to go ahead and self-promote. That's a thing, right? Like I've got to tell everyone, you got to like, you got to subscribe, whatever the fuck side it's on. I'm not really sure. I think it's opposite side here. So go ahead and do that like and subscribe thing, whatever the hell YouTube tells you to do. So thank you for joining. My name is Jennifer. This last month in the month of July, 31 days, I read 100 graphic novels slash comic books in a month in 31 days. It was kind of atrocious. I thought I was ready for it. I don't actually think that I was ready for it, surprisingly. I went ahead and so you're probably wondering, how did you get here? Well, what had happened was I was walking, went ahead and tripped and fell, broke my foot, figured that I would be, hey Jay, how's it going tonight? So I went ahead and broke my foot, not on purpose, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be sitting here for a little bit. What should I do? During the pandemic, I went ahead and ordered a whole bunch of books anyways. The local bookstore here had a fantastic deal on all of their used books, 30% off all of their used books. And I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and take advantage of this. And in my broken foot stupor, I went ahead and I ordered a shit ton of books. There was a lot of boxes sitting in this fucking apartment. And this is the result. So I went ahead and went and read 100 books this month. It was a lot. Um, I had a list. I went ahead and made a little list of everything that I did. But you can actually see them right here next to me. I decided I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start off strong, and I'm gonna go ahead and read some of my favorites. So I started off with Descender. It's all the way down here. I went ahead and read the first 6 volumes of Descender by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, and then the follow-up with uh, Ascender. Looks like so how many of the books you purchased in that stupor did you end up reading? So I ended up reading most of these books. I think that there were a couple that I didn't. Spoiler alert, in my book ordering stupor, I went ahead and I purchased a couple of books by Warren Ellis and decided during this month I'm not going to actually read those books by Warren Ellis. So there was a little bit of a heartbreaker right there. So I ordered Trees, decided not to read that. There were a couple others that I hated, and I'm like, I'm not going to read the rest of the series, but for the most part, ended up reading all of them. So I started off with Descender. I went ahead and went to, yeah, yikes. Did not see that one coming whatsoever. So that was kind of heartbreaking a little bit to see all of the allegations with Warren Ellis. You know, what are you going to do? And when it comes to that stuff, what do I do? Do I just go ahead and get rid of my books? Do I not read them? Do I not put them on my shelf? The next quarantine / toilet paper shortage that we have, I may just go ahead and use it for extra toilet paper during whatever next quarantine we end up having, because people can't wear a mask. So I'm going to need toilet paper eventually. There's bound to be another toilet paper shortage. I may go ahead and use all of my Warren Ellis books for toilet paper. Who knows? I'm just getting my books over here too. So you can't see it because it's off screen, but I did go ahead and I also read Paper Girls, first 6 volumes of Paper Girls, went ahead and read the first 4 volumes of Monstrous. That's all that's out right now. Went ahead and I read some other books by someone who I am not really fond of anymore. Most people know, if you watch my other show that I do, if you watch me on Longbox Paradox / Comic Chop News, you know I read Black Science by Rick Remender and I read Low by Rick Remender. Hated them. I hate read them. I used to like these books, and I don't know what happened, but I didn't like them this go around. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Ended up just hate finishing them. I reread Clean Room by Gail Simone, which was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't read Clean Room by Gail Simone, it's like a hello. Sorry if like my face keeps getting cut off. I'm not really like sure where I'm at right now. So ended up reading Clean Room by Gail Simone. That was like a psychological horror with this cult leader named Astrid. It was really fun. I really love it. It's kind of horror-y, more suspense than like horror, but some very gruesome thing happens. So that was kind of fun. I ended up reading Pride of Baghdad by Brian K. Vaughan, and even though he writes my absolute favorite saga, I did not like Pride of Baghdad, so that one was kind of disappointing. I see the Junji Ito collection behind you. Yeah. So I've actually read most of Shiver. I don't know what this ends up looking like for y'all. So I read Shiver before, but I ended up buying Tomy as well as Uzumaki. In my big book order, I did also get, if you can see here, Yan and Moo. This one's a lot more delightful. It's about him and his wife living with their two cats. I'm flipping it the wrong way. Him and his wife with their two cats, and basically they're trying to kill him, or so he thinks. So this one's a little bit more delightful, especially coming from one of the masters of horror right now. And you can see cute little cat collage right there. So that was really cute. So Junji Ito has a book coming out in August, and I was thinking about doing some type of review for other books that he's done. So that may end up being a thing that's on this channel. So like I said before, you can go and you can like and subscribe wherever the hell those buttons are down here. You can also, in the link down below, you can find links to my Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support me in this comic book buying habit. You can also find the link to Longbox Paradox, where I do my other weekly show. You can also find bookshop.org, where you can buy books from instead of buying from Amazon. So, okay, we can see all of the bookshelf and behind you. Okay, I guess that's where I am. Skip Tomy, it's meh. You need to buy Junji Ito, No Longer Human adaptation. You know, that one I don't know why I skipped, but I'll definitely check that one out, and I'll see if I can include it in the review. I'm also very curious to check out his Frankenstein adaptation. That one looks really fun too. So, but here's the thing. I went ahead and I read 100 books in 1 month, and it was exhausting. So who knows if I'm actually going to end up getting to as many books in August. I may read 2 if I'm lucky. Who knows? Okay. So further down the list of things, thank you, Gherkin. Hello, Chris, Radio of Horror. Hello. So some of the other books that I read, I went ahead and read Invincible by Image. That one seems to be like one of the big Robert Kirkman ones, and I had never read it for some darn reason. Maybe it's because it felt so overwhelming. Invincible has like 20 different volumes, or 20 plus volumes, kind of ends up doing that Walking Dead thing where it just goes on and on and on. And I never read it because it felt so damn overwhelming. And I went ahead and just got volume 1, and I'm very curious to read more after reading the first volume, because it is being made into some TV show or movie adaptation. So why do you recommend Bookshop specifically? Okay, so here's the thing about bookshop.org is that whenever you buy from Amazon, it goes towards Jeff Bezos just becoming even richer, which whatever, if you want to go ahead and support whatever like DMT habit he has, and if you want to support Grimes and that baby, certainly go ahead. However, with bookshop.org, money goes straight to local bookstores. So any profit margin that bookshop.org receives, it actually goes towards local bookshops and comic book stores. Comic book stores can register, so you can even find on there um, books. I think they also have some other type of media, like maybe some gifts and things like that. So for not quite Amazon prices, you can get some good books. It's not as cheap as Amazon, but whatever. You know that it's going towards a good cause. Chris, Radio of Horror. I worry we will find you on the floor under a pile of comic books calling for help if you move off that couch and those piles get knocked over by cats. I worry about this every single night I go to bed. Like and honestly, even with the bookshelves, these are cheap ass bookshelves, but they were cheap. I didn't have any, and I'm like, I need to put all these things up. And I'm honestly worried about when I put a book up here that it's going to fall. So part of maybe my Patreon, if you want to support me getting better new bookshelves, I found one for about $300 that I'm looking at that fits this space perfectly. So hopefully we'll see a new bookshelf in behind me. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for commenting. You are amazing. Any other books you want to hear about that you know that I read, go ahead and ask. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going down the list. Invincible is a damn good series, in my opinion. Don't know how he manages to remain so prolific with output. You know, I really liked Invincible. I liked the beginning of Walking Dead. During this month, I did read Robert Kirkman's Oblivion Song and did not like it whatsoever. I don't know if I just didn't get into the series or I couldn't connect with the or characters or figure out what was going on. I was not in love with Oblivion Song. So controversial opinion, but there it is. Keep that weight on the bottom. You'll be okay. Yeah, that's kind of a tough part. Like I've got so many books that it's tough not to put all the weight on all of it. I really just need more space. I need more bookshelves, to be honest. And Saga, yeah. So whenever I made this list, I was like, okay, what are going to be the books that I'm reading? I know that, I need to read 3 or 4 books a day in order to be able to get through this. What are they going to be? What's going to be my game plan? What's going to be my plan of attack? And I knew that I had to finish strong. So, of course, I finished Saga on the last day. I went ahead and read all 9 volumes of Saga in one fucking day on the 31st of July, and that was a lot. Saga is a very intense, it's very beautiful, and it has its moments, but it's very intense, and it leaves you with this cliffhanger, and now we've been waiting 2 years for the return of Saga, so who knows? Who knows if we'll end up getting Saga before the end of the year, but there's been so much that's maybe not coming out. Like we thought we were going to get Black Widow, we thought we were going to get Wonder Woman, and we didn't get any of that. So, whatever. I'll just be happy. 1, if I see the Dune trailer in a month, and 2, if I see the Dune movie at the end of the year, I'll be happy. Maybe if George R. R. Martin can release Winds of Winter, who knows? Okay. So where do you sit or exist when you read comics? Is there a big comfy chair? There is not a big comfy chair. It's been so hot in my apartment. I have a 400 square foot apartment. And there's no AC because I'm in the Pacific Northwest and I just moved from Florida. I'm like, I don't need an AC. So anyways, basically I just lay sprawled out on the ground when I read comics. Sometimes I sit outside on my balcony if it's not too hot, but normally it's just me sprawled out. I pretend I'm on the beach. Sometimes I have a drink reading comics. This is me getting white girl wasted on camera talking about comics, so there you go. Only read the first 5 volumes of Saga. Man, it's so good. I'm glad that you've read the first 5 volumes of Saga. Saga is normally where I start whenever people are like, hey, recommend a book to me. Have you not read Saga? Go ahead and read Saga. Thank you for reading the first 5 volumes, but I highly recommend finishing it. Hopefully within the next year, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples are going to be returning to do it, so we'll see there. Next comment. I don't know if you already talked about Saga in the series, but I would like to hear from you. What do you think about? So Saga is my absolute favorite freaking series. You can't really see here, but I have all of the Saga statues. I have a lion cat tattoo. I also have a whole bunch of pops and the Lion Cat statues and the Lion Cat plush. So yeah, I really like Saga. It's the one I recommend to almost everyone. If you're tired of superheroes, read Saga. If you like science fiction, read Saga. If you like fantasy, read Saga. So seriously, I can't recommend it enough. It has something for everyone in it. The cast is so diverse. It talks about social issues. It's so pertinent. Read Saga. I absolutely love it. If you haven't read Saga, I'm not saying jump off this stream, but I'm saying go and read it, please. So, Chris, Radio of Horror, have you read Hauntings by Image? It's Ocean 11 meets any haunting ghost story or Five Ghosts. It's James. I have not read that. One that I did read that totally snuck under my radar. I know it's not hauntings, but I read Harrow County, which was a really weird like body horror while also in this like post antebellum South. I really enjoyed it. I'm probably gonna buy the next couple volumes because I really enjoyed it. Um, Shout out to Frank Herbert. Yeah, I don't know if you can see here. I like Dune. I've got a Bene Gesserit witch, and I've got my Chris knife. I've also got the Litany of Fear. Okay. I sit on a pile of comics. Once again, 400 square foot apartment. I moved here with uh, about 15 long short boxes moved here, and the only place I can put them is under my bed. I actually joke that I need furniture made out of long boxes. So the collection you see behind me is all graphic novels. This is all just graphic novels and collected trades. I've got tons of boxes under my bed, so I literally sleep on comics every single night. I might as well just put my like mattress on it, and sleep on it. That might be comfortable. Who knows? Trying to think. Oh, typing lying cat. Jen said, "Ain't down with Saga." Yeah, pretty much. Like if you're not down with Saga, man, I'm not saying like get out and like stop watching this. Please keep watching, please. However, when you're done with this, go read Saga. And just to plug the links below, I talked a little bit earlier about bookshop.org and how when you buy from there, the money, instead of going to some billionaire, trillionaire, Jeff Bezos, the money actually goes to local comic book and bookstores. You can actually go to my bookshop.org below, and there's a link where you can buy Saga on there. So go ahead and get you some. Shout out to Harrow County. It was so good. I feel like Harrow County was a sleeper hit. I'm trying to look on my stacks here, stacks on stacks on stacks, to see where it is. I never know if it ends up going, like if it's backwards or whatever, if you can see it. But it's actually really good. It was delightful. I really enjoyed the characters in it, and it was very, very creepy. The artwork reminds me a little bit of if anyone's ever read anything by Jeff Lemire, who I'm a very big fan of. The artwork reminds me of his artwork, especially from Sweet Tooth. So check that one out. It was really, really good. And I keep forgetting this by Dark Horse. For some reason, I kept thinking that it was Image, but it's Dark Horse. Okay. Cool. If you come on again, Goth Girl Horror, bring up that book. Oh, hell yeah. So, Chris, Radio of Horror, I don't know what it looks like for you to be able to drop a link in the comments. But if you want to go ahead and drop a link to your comments, because like I've been on your show, absolutely loved it. We've talked about Hack Slash, so by Tim Seeley. I've been on your show a couple different times. If you want to go ahead and post a link, if that's a thing that you're allowed to do, I'm not really sure how the comments work, but please go ahead and do that. And I will go ahead and I will, when this is done, when it's edited, I'll actually go and I'll drop a link in this video, like in the description box, wherever this is. I'm not really sure where I'm pointing, just out to the ether. Okay. Funny story, I have thought about writing a comic book. I have written comic book, and I don't feel like I'm very good at it yet. Maybe more to come on that, maybe something coming out. I would love to do more. My partner actually draws comic books, but we can't work together on comic books because we value our relationship more than we enjoy the work. So, rule number one on writing your own comic book, pay your artist to write a comic book and don't write it with a partner maybe. It sounds fun and exciting and cheap labor. 0 out of 10 would not recommend whatsoever. Jeff Lemire, the guy who does Animal Man. Yeah, so with Jeff Lemire, I read Descender this month, and it's one of my absolute favorites. I'm trying to think of what else that I read by his this month. Yeah, I'm not seeing what else that I read by him this month, but I know that I read something. So, Sweet Tooth, I read that recently, like before this month by Jeff Lemire. Another really good series. It's getting picked up by Netflix, so hopefully that turns out pretty good. Okay, so shout out to Cassie Hack. Yeah, if you like Cassie Hack and you like Hack Slash, if you like that, like Goth Girl Horror, Chris at Radio of Horror does a podcast for it. Highly recommend it. Smart move. No, you can't. I just tried it. Block. Okay. So for everyone, if you go to my Instagram, I'll try to go ahead and post about Radio of Horror, which I've been on. Absolutely, like, shout out to Chris. You're absolutely wonderful. We get to talk about Cassie Hack and like cool goth girl and little like snippets of Hack Slash. That's been really fun. So I'll go ahead and what about East of West? So East of West. I have big feelings about East of West and Jonathan Hickman. Let me take a sip. I don't know if I'm allowed to show brands on here, so I'm going to go ahead and try to hide this, but this show is brought to you by getting white girl wasted, basic bitch wasted. Don't judge me. These have like 0 sugar in them, and they get me like kind of toasty, so. Alrighty. So let's talk about my boy, Jonathan Hickman. East of West is one of my absolute favorite, I was gonna say my favorite show. I think it's becoming a show, but I can't confirm that. So East of West, there's 10 volumes. The last, it just finished up its series, so it's 10 volumes. I read all of them in 2 days. So good, just such big science fiction ideas. This is how I got introduced to him. I know he's done stuff with Fantastic Four and all of that ish. However, I went ahead and read his Manhattan Projects. Complete opposite. I hated Manhattan Projects, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So I did not care for Manhattan Projects. You may also know Jonathan Hickman with doing the basically reboot of the X-Men universe. So last year we got this fantastic series, House of X, Powers of X. Everything kind of got narrowed down. He did some really fun things where he took X-Men, like where it's at, and then brought it into the future, did some amazing things, and then it split off. So right now you have, I forget how many different series, but you have Excalibur, you've got Marauders, New Mutants, X-Men, so you've got all these different titles, and there's a little bit of something for everyone, depending on what characters you like, depending on what kind of style that you're looking for, Fallen Angels, whatever it is. And he's kind of like spearheading all of this. It looks like we may get some stuff. Storm may be getting her own series, and I'm really excited for that. So Jonathan Hickman is such a fantastic writer. He has these big ideas, and East of West was the series that I fell in love with him. Recently read it, and I can't recommend it enough. Nick Dragata's artwork is just beautiful. It's this great blend of like science fiction, fantasy, alternate history, where in the Civil War, like this big event happens, like a meteor or something, and then this message, so it becomes this like religion, and then people are trying to like bring about the apocalypse. It's really good. Just at least check out the first volume of East of West. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and head back to the comments. Please keep them coming so I don't just ramble on like I just did. Keep me on track, guys, because I'll just go off on a fucking tangent. Also, spoiler alert, I curse a lot. What are you going to do? Alrighty. Jonathan Hickman. Yep. Alrighty. And we talk about women in comics and real issues of the patriarchy and BSM comics and real life stuff. Yeah. X-Men Death Cult. Definitely enjoyed House of X, Powers of X. Haven't read any of the side series though yet. So there's a lot to, with the new Dawn of X is what they're calling all of the like X-Men, I don't want to call it spin-off series, but Dawn of X is kind of the event of that, what they're calling it. And there's lots of different things. I would say if you are thinking about reading any of the new X-Men titles, any of these like Dawn of X titles, think about what characters that you like. So if you like Kitty Pryde, maybe go ahead and do Marauders. So just kind of see where you're at with what X-Men you enjoy and then go from there. One other thing that I actually subscribed to because I wanted to read a lot of X-Men was I actually subscribed to Marvel Unlimited. It's like $5-10 a month, something like that. And they've got pretty much every single Marvel title that you can think of that is pre 6 months from now. So things will get published in print and then 6 months later it comes on Marvel Unlimited. So right now, I think when I last saw the first 4 issues of all of the new series for X-Men is on Marvel Unlimited or Marvel U, whatever it is. I don't know if it's Marvel Unlimited, but go ahead and check it out. If you want to check out the titles, it gets it for a cheap price and you don't have to like think about ordering a second printing because all of these aren't going to be available at your local comic book shop. I want to go ahead and say thank you everyone for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. If you know a title that I read this past month and you want to know like more about it, go ahead and check it out. Alrighty. I have more graphic novels in the Barnes & Noble bookstore. And I can tell you that, so thank you, Gherkin, for saying that. That's a big compliment for me, so thank you for that. Now, I can already tell you that my collection is alphabetized as well, unlike the Barnes & Noble shelves, because they're notoriously just disheveled, disorganized. I'm not blaming them. They may not, graphic novels don't feel like literature to a lot of people. So when I say, yeah, I read 100 books this last month, people are like, 100 real books? And I'm like, well, graphic novels are real books. So anyways, I don't think that graphic novels get the love that they deserve, but thank you. I might as well just live in Barnes & Noble. I would love that. Give me a second, you guys. Okay. So the Barnes & Noble shelves trigger me 100%. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how people like organize and like find stuff. A couple different times. Speaking of Barnes & Noble, I'm going to go ahead and go off on a tangent. So thank you for bringing up Barnes & Noble. Like maybe 25% of the time, I try to be efficient. I'll go ahead and order something from Barnes & Noble, and I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and buy it, and I'll go ahead and pick up in store to make it easier. And then half the time they send me an email saying, oh, your order's been canceled. We couldn't find your book. Do you want us to order it? And I'm like, no, I want it now. I want self-gratification very quick. So I don't know. Barnes & Noble, they're kind of lacking on the graphic novel department. So I know that they are going through a lot of restructuring. There's a guy who did the Barnes & Noble department that basically bought all of the books. It was like the graphic novel buyer is leaving the company because of some reshifting. He's been with the company for something like 3 decades. I can't recall his name, but he's leaving. So I hope that he goes on to do good work, and I hope that he goes somewhere special. So that disappointed look killed me. That disappointed look, was I disappointed about, was it Barnes & Noble Was it Jonathan Hickman's Manhattan Projects? Was it Black Science and Low? There's so many things that I was disappointed about this month and forever and always. So thank you. You guys keep the comments coming. Let me know what you think that I read, what you want to know. It looks like, what was the favorite thing you read that you didn't already read? I'm going to go ahead and say I hadn't actually read, let me think. Give me a second to go through this pile, you guys. One of my favorites that just came out, Safe Sex, which is really cool. It's like basically people who enjoy having sex, consensual sex. It's like living in a Handmaid's Tale dystopia where if you want to have sex with someone, you have to be married to them and you have to like file paperwork and stuff. And this underground ragtag group of people get like kidnapped and then they have to go and save them. So this one was really good, by Tina Horn. Jen Hickman did some of the artwork. So Safe Sex, that one was really good. That one just came out. And I don't think that this one is on, yeah, another one that's kind of like deep and hidden. Another one that recently came out, Philadelphia came out. This was one that I had read very sparingly in the single issues as it came out this past year. But anyone who has vampire fatigue, who thinks that they've seen everything done with vampires, this one by Rodney Barnes did a really good job of like kind of like bringing fresh life into the undead of vampires. So anyways, vampires in modern day life. There's this like cult conspiracy, and it was really good, written by Rodney Barnes. If you follow me on the channel that I normally do live streams at, so the link is below, Comic Chop News, Longbox Paradox. We do a weekly show where we talk about comics. So if you like this rambling style, you can find me on there, rambling and shit. However, we do a monthly book club. I got to choose the next book that we're going to be reading. Philadelphia's it. And hopefully it works out. Hopefully the author of this show, Rodney Barnes, is going to join us. So if you want to join us for book club, you can go get Philadelphia, read it, and then join us. And hopefully Rodney Barnes, if you're watching, we're really excited. We want to see you on the show. We're really excited. We want to talk about it. And I promise we'll be on our best behavior and we won't ramble. So, I mean, at least I'm going to try to. I don't know about Dan. So, Philadelphia was one of my favorite series. Okay, more comments. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Let me try something. I'm going to try to bring a guest on. Okay, I didn't get the notification. Let's do this.
Yo.
Dan, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hello. Okay, so funny segue. I invited Dan on the show. I was literally just, if you were watching, I was literally just fucking screaming about Philadelphia. And I kind of threw you under the bus a little bit because I'm like, hopefully Rodney Barnes is going to be on the show. I promise I'm going to be on my best behavior. I don't know about Dan. I don't know. If
I'm never on my best behavior. I want to go back to something about the Barnes & Noble because I worked for them for 20 years.
I was just thinking, I'm like, Dan worked at Barnes & Noble.
So
everyone, really quick, if I can introduce you. So everyone watching, Dan is the, like, I don't want to say co-host because I feel like I'm the co-host. You're the actual host of the fucking show of Longbox.
I'm the joke. You're the punchline.
Okay. So anyways, everyone, this is Dan. We do the weekly show. So go in the link. Go on there.
Okay, so James Killian was a buyer for almost my entire time there.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Met him in store a bunch of times, had like fantastic conversations. Huge fan of the genre in general. Like he'd go to Comic-Con every year. He'd come back excited. His hands were tied as a buyer. Like he couldn't go crazy. Yeah. Like even like I had to talk with him like, dude, what's up with Image? And like, we don't have Walking Dead in the store. Like, why do we not have it? And he goes, I know. So he basically told me that I could go ahead and do local buying for everything, and they couldn't stop me.
Oh, so you're like, I have unlimited power.
Yes, and then I bought a ton of shit that never sold because I liked it.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's like, not to knock like Barnes and Noble or whatever, even though I kind of just shat on them already about being like, your bookshelves are atrocious. But
Oh, they're an atrocious company now.
Yeah, one I can definitely see that like
not saying that I'm not with them anymore, that they're atrocious.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But I think that like that's the kind of glorious thing about local bookstores or locally owned comic book stores is that like comic book stores, they do all of their own buying. They're, literally putting their dollars on the line, and they end up doing a lot of hand selling, and they know what their customers are like tuned into. So
hey, Meow, I will never want to be the Joker. I saw that in the comment. No. We're doing a joke on the punchline. Keep saying everybody's the joke and she's the punchline. Not I'm the Joker.
So I'll go ahead and if you're not, I'm really not into like I'm not reading a ton of DC comics. Let me go ahead and phrase it that way. I'm not really reading a ton of DC comics. I'll read Strange Adventures. I'll read Amethyst, and what else is out by I don't know, that's all I can think of right now. So anyways, DC's been having like all these events, and the Batman Who Laughs and Metal and Dark Knight Metal and all of these things. And of course they introduced Punchline, which is supposed to be Joker's new henchwoman, and
non-binary like henchperson.
Yeah, non-binary, whatever. And she has said several times, or writers are putting words in her mouth, basically like, you're the joke and I'm the punchline. Get it? Because her name is Punchline, and you're the joke and she's the punchline. If you enjoy this type of comedy, go follow Longbox Paradox Comic Chop News, because this is the type of shit we do every week.
It needs a rim shot every time like that joke like lands, or like just the thud. Okay, on to Philadelphia. So like Jen like announced that was her pick, and I'm not gonna lie, like I was championing the hell out of that book from issue 1, and Jen's like, all right, you keep talking about it, I have to check it out.
Okay.
And then she read it, she was like, okay, holy shit, that was great. So really she picked it, and after the show, I was like, hey, we made our pick. Tag Rodney Barnes, and I was like, hey, be awesome if you came on. And he was like, oh, I'd love to. I was like, oh shit, that's happening. And then I went into like a panic mode of like, oh, I guess I have to prepare now.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and see. So Meow in the comments. Whenever I'm sorry, I apologize. I have a like filthy brain, but whenever I see Meow, I'm like, Meow. I don't know, whatever. I apologize for my horrible 13-year-old humor that never evolved. But anyways, Meow says Rodney Barnes will appear on the show, Jen. He's pretty down to earth. That's what I'm hoping, because I'm only going to speak for myself here, even though I'm speaking for both of us. I'm pretty fucking ridiculous, and I can't be chained. Kind of like Miley Cyrus. Is that her? You can't be chained. I'm not really sure.
Are you a wrecking ball?
I'm a wrecking ball, man. Yeah. All of that.
I just got to say, from what he's done with Comic Book Campaign, Andrew, like he just keeps sending him books for his boxes.
Yeah, that's right. I did see, and for anyone who likes those mystery type subscription boxes, Andrew, it's Comic Book Campaign on Instagram, and he'll kind of like update what he's going to do in like each month's box. I think he sold out of the DC boxes I saw.
Yes,
but he's doing
he's got September's
kind of
up, but the August mystery box, it has Philadelphia Volume 1 in it.
Yeah, and it has a couple of different. Did I see that bomb ass Middle West variant that like everyone was going batshit crazy? So I don't know if it's going to be in every box. I don't know if it's going to be like a surprise in a box, like my comic in a box. So if I ever do a subscription service box that I curate, it's going to be called my comic in a box, and it's just going to be all dick jokes.
Did you happen to read the last issue of Middle West?
No, I haven't kept up with it since Volume 1. So.
Oh boy,
It's a heartbreaker, I'm sure.
Yes.
That's what I keep hearing. So I don't know. Someone probably dies. Spoiler alert, someone probably dies in Middle West, but Oh,
It was
no.
it was it
Okay.
was just emotional and like solid. Like I put it down, I was like, whoo, sweating. Or was it tears? I don't know.
I don't know. Like,
I'm working out. Oh God.
what subscription was that you mentioned? So it's Comic Book Campaign.
.com.
That's the comicbookcampaign.com. I just know him from Instagram, and it's Comic Book Campaign on Instagram. So maybe whenever this is done and over with on my Instagram and my stories, I'll go ahead and post a like whatever on there, like in my
Well, he
stories
just
about
posted a
Comic Book
story
Campaign.
with it that you can repost.
Beautiful. And then I will also make sure because I can't get to it right here, but Chris, Radio of Horror, that does Goth Girl Horror Radio. Sorry, I think I'm getting that mixed up. But however, I'm really sorry. I swear I've only had like one drink, not even.
I just woke up
So,
and
anyways,
I'm drinking.
I'll go ahead and I'll post Chris. I'll go ahead and post your link on my Instagram as well whenever this is done. So if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram and follow the channel, which you probably already are. That's probably how you know about this. Go ahead and follow Comic Chop News, Longbox Paradox, and once again, Patreon. I have a Patreon for like literally as little as $2. You can sponsor whatever the hell this is that's going on. You can get glorious content like this. So
You're right about the pronunciation.
what's
It is dirty.
so sorry, I'm reading the you're the first person to understand my screen name, Jen. It's supposed to be filthy. Thank you. Okay. Is a cat cake 100 so me out. Thank you. I'm glad that I got that. I'm glad that it's not just me. So thank you for that. I see that I do. I'll go ahead and celebrate. Do you have a drink, Dan?
I do.
Okay,
Just
so
in case a certain author's name came up, I need to be prepared.
Wait, is it my hate author or your hate author?
In general, just in general.
Okay. Here, let's take a cheers. Can we cheers?
Wow, that is some real frou-frou drink you have there.
You know, I'm not apologizing for getting like basic bitch wasted. So this, I don't know if I'm allowed to show brands, which whatever, but it has 0 sugar and it was what I had. It was either this or rum. And I'm like, I'm not going to get that trashed on film. Like, I'll get a little bit trashed on film, but I'm not going to get like that trashed on film. So
White Claw just doesn't do it for you anymore.
I never liked White Claw, to be honest.
It looks terrible.
I think I had one flavor and I never really liked it.
Cider is
Remender. Oh man. So Jay went ahead and posted. So we know
of course.
For Remender. You know, I feel bad because
you put both.
I feel bad because
politically you like Remender.
I do. Like he posted some stuff and I'm like, I can agree with this, but then at the same time, I think that in a way, one of my favorite series is Bitch Planet, like 100%. So I understand. I understand that like Bitch Planet's not for everyone, right? Like some people are just not going to get the themes. Like I feel like I've had personal experiences that like I read Bitch Planet and I'm like, okay, like I feel like I've been there. I can relate to this. And I think Kelly Sue DeConnick just writes that well with that in mind. However, I just don't think I connect with, I don't want to say none of the characters, but I'm trying to really hard to find out like which Remender book I really enjoy. Like I read Deadly Class a while ago, but I feel like I'm getting it confused with the show, and I don't know.
The show is pretty close to the book.
Here's my thing is that I'm probably never going to read Black Science or Low, and I'm never going to recommend them really. Like I know once again, spoiler alert for, I was talking earlier how we do like the once a month book club and how, we're doing Philadelphia, and we did Black Science this last month. So we did it a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely hated it. And I said that I'd probably recommend it to a certain type of person. Like, I feel like I'm even struggling figuring out who that person is, who I'd recommend it to.
I feel like Seven to Eternity is the most un-Remender book.
I think it's funny because I think I have that like trade right back here. And I think I read like the first, second, third issue and didn't connect with it. Still bought the trade anyways and never read it. So
here's my question. If you had to read a book, would it be Low or Mercy?
Mercy.
Wow.
And here's the thing, because I didn't like Mercy. I'm struggling to figure out what I liked about Mercy. But I know I like the artwork. With Low, I know I don't like at least the artwork. I don't know. I'd probably read Mercy again just to not put up with it. So it looks like there's like 9-10 people here in the chat. Thank you so much. If you are just tuning in, like I super
it's like 8 more than we normally get.
I think it's because it's a novelty. Like I never go like live on my own. It's always like I go live weekly. So anyways, if you like this type of like candid talk, in the links below, you can find links to Comic Talk News, Longbox Paradox, where I do a weekly show. Please and thank you. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do it. Click the link below and do the like and subscribe. That's like the little like dance, whatever. So anyways, I'm
See me get abused.
talking about, yeah. I'll start getting comments like social justice news makes half your hair fall out there. Like whatever. So anyway,
you don't see the comments. I do.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm here right now talking about how this last month I read 100 graphic novels in 1 month, and how it was delightful and terrifying, and I had my ups and I had my downs, and I had, just whatever moments. So if you have any questions about any of the books that I read, any of my thoughts and opinions on the books that that I did read, or if you want to know anything, I really don't give a shit. Ask anything. Like ask the dumbest question you can think of. It doesn't even have to be comic book related. It can be whatever. So Jay in the comments says, I have a question about Low. It seems like you hate the art, but how do you feel about the theme's plot? So, and here's my like honest to goodness deconstruction of Low, is that I don't necessarily hate the story. I think that, someone asked earlier about would I ever think about writing my own comic? Yes, I've tried to do it. I feel like I failed miserably at it for like a million different reasons, but I do feel like I know a little bit about writing and like what that kind of looks like. Okay. So knowing that, I know me as a writer, I think of these big ideas. I think like, what's the world that I can build? But when it comes down to maybe the plot, or like, how do you do this? How do you do that? That's where I get stuck. And I think that Rick Remender, like, he knows what he's doing. And I can just imagine that he like late one night like scribbled and was like underwater, apocalypse, and whatever. And to me, I don't love any of the characters. And I do love how like Remender does these characters that are flawed, but to me he just doesn't, I don't know. I didn't connect with any of the characters, especially not necessarily that I have to connect with female characters whatsoever, because I've read 1,000 comics that like I didn't see a single female character that I connect with. That's not necessarily a thing, but I just didn't connect with any of the characters. I wasn't rooting for any of the characters, and not even in the sense of Game of Thrones, where everyone's morally ambiguous. Like everyone is a piece of shit in Game of Thrones, with maybe the exception of like Catelyn Stark is the only character that
she's kind of shitty. She was shitty to Jon.
Well, no, she is. but that's what I'm saying. Like she's a bitch to John, but I feel like when it comes to like family, there's still a sense of motivation. And even Cersei Lannister, like I will die on the hill of I love Cersei Lannister.
It gets real fast and the furious with the family talk.
Everything she does is for her family. So 100% I get like that. However, with Lowe, and I'm not comparing Rick Remender to George R. R. Martin because like George R. R. Martin and like whatever. So anyways,
food porn.
I know I'm doing like it seriously. So I really do enjoy the themes of Lowe. Like if someone was like, hey, there's this comic book where the apocalypse happened and now everyone lives underwater, I guess. Or maybe the whole world is underwater and like all I'd be like,
Basically,
okay, I'm into it.
Yeah, the planet
But
it's uninhabitable up above. It's weird.
so I just
the video I did with Gambit on Low, like when we first started, I described it as being Dune but underwater. It reminded me of Arrakis sort of, but not like Dune the book. But
I know that we both share a lot of love for Dune, but I'm gonna kind of vote you down on that one. I'm gonna go back to some other.
I mean, I also acknowledged that I was getting chased down by someone's husband in that episode too, so I wasn't really in my right mind.
Yeah, let me go ahead and
I've never read.
I've watched Snowpiercer,
yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. But I have once again, when it comes to media and it comes to comic books that like shows and movies that I've watched versus like media, I can maybe do like 2 adaptations, and that's about it. So I think about Game of Thrones. Like I've read the books, I've watched the show. There's also a comic book, but I'm not going to read the comic book because I just like I feel like that's too much. Like I've already seen it done before. However, I really enjoyed Snowpiercer the movie. I think that there's a Snowpiercer the show and there's a comic book, but I think that I'm just going to I'm going to idealize the movie and I'm never going to go past that. I can't. So Meow, if you want to go ahead and like sell me on why I should read the comic book, would love to hear that. It looks like you also asked, have I read Paul Chadwick's Concrete? I have not. I don't really know anything about it.
Very, very old Dark Horse book. I liked it. Wasn't a fun book, but it was emotional. It was enjoyable. I have not read it in at least 20 years.
Okay,
and so you and I might be in agreement on the graphic novel we'd like to see adapted into a film.
I would probably I want to say Saga, but it's too big for a film. I'm not really sure. I mean, I would love, once again, to me it's kind of like Sandman. Like I feel like Sandman, I'm very, and maybe even Dune to a point. I'd rather see no Sandman than a bad Sandman, even though I've seen a bad Dune. But I do want to see Saga, but I feel like in the way of Avatar, where James Cameron didn't make Avatar because the technology just wasn't ready yet. So he delayed doing it or just like kind of waited and built some of the technology. I think I actually don't think I would mind James Cameron having a hand in Saga, but I think that would go to Taika Waititi, would need to do Saga. People, keep the comments going. Let me know what you think that I read this month. Guess which books that I hated, which ones that I loved, which ones that I've read and you want to ask questions about, anything back here that you see that you have questions about. And I'm not saying that I want to read any more books and like go on like a book buying binge, but if there's any books that you think that I should be reading or that I should read in August, go ahead. I am going to go ahead. What's that?
Finish Nailbiter.
We'll see. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. I bought Ghosted and I ended up not getting to it this month, so I'll probably read Ghosted before I read Nailbiter. Let me go into the
novel I'd like to see adapted is Inkle, but like legit Inkle, not pieces stolen from it and repurposed.
Yeah. I've only read the Inkle, not because there's the first Inkle, and like
Yeah.
all of the spin-offs. So I haven't read any of those, but I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing the Inkle done. However, I think that when you seriously though, when you go back into the Inkle and by Jodorowsky, so okay, everyone, Dan said one of my trigger words, and like I'm just gonna like go on like wee like Jennifer's time for a rant. Welcome to my channel. Buckle up, buttercups. So, long story short, Alejandro Jodorowsky was going to make a Dune adaptation in like the late 60s, early 70s. Didn't get to it because the producers just sucked. So, anyways, it didn't get done.
Amazon
It
Prime
didn't
Instant
get
watching it.
done. And then, so Alejandro Jodorowsky kind of went on this like spiritual mission to make a Dune adaptation. It didn't get done. Did this whole like finding his dream team and partner with John Gerard, otherwise known as Mobius.
Pink
To
Floyd
do
was going to
this,
do the
like,
soundtrack.
yeah, and so Mobius went ahead and like did this
Art Bible.
screenshot, like art Bible, and basically do like a script or a storyboard for what the movie was going to look like, and it didn't end up happening. So they went ahead and they actually partnered on the Inkle. And there's a huge, fantastic series. Like seriously, it's like it's big and it's huge, and you can see influences everywhere from Flash Gordon to Star Wars and all of these things. So check out, read Dune, watch Jodorowsky's Dune, the greatest film that was never made. Go ahead and watch that on Amazon. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to subscribe to Longbox Paradox / Comic Chop News. So you can watch us discuss Dune on a chapter by chapter basis. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get back to these comments in.
I have one more graphic novel.
That you want to see adapted?
Yes, it'd be very topical right now, and it would be a very grassroots X-Men and God Loves Man Kills turned into a movie.
We'll see. We'll see if we get that.
Will never happen, but.
Alrighty. So, favorite movie based on Stephen King's novels. I want to say Carrie. That one for me when I was younger meant a lot as a like teen that got picked on and shit. So I totally identify with Carrie.
Salem's Lot. The original TV movie, because my mom scared the shit out of me with it, and my mom and I used to bond over horror movies when she was still alive, and she started scratching on my window outside at night like it was the little kid outside to scare me. And again, it's a weird memory to be fond of, but
yeah. Alrighty. So I'm like kind of like reading through the comments here. It sounds like there's a lot of people who are, or you know, Jay and Meow, who are excited about Concrete. So I said I wasn't going to buy a lot of books, but I may just go ahead and try to find this. Maybe I'll go ahead and do a review on it.
There is an omnibus of it.
Who knows? Yeah, anyone else? It looks like we got 6 viewers now. So anyone who has any other suggestions for what I should be reading, anyone who has any thoughts, opinions, anyone wants my thoughts and opinions on anything, I don't give a shit about Dan. Like, you don't need to know his thoughts. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like every other one.
I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah. So it's because you're the joke and I'm the punchline.
Speaking of Batman, pick up Dark Knight Metals 3, Death Metal 3 this week, and pick up Legends of the Dark. Yes, because if you can get your hands on them, you can flip them real fast because they're already over $20 each. The 125 is going for $200 right now. Of Legends of Dark Knight's Death Metal, blah blah blah. Add in another adjective and verb.
Alrighty, so I'm here talking about the 100 fucking graphic novels, comic books that I read this last month in July. It was a beast. I thought that I was going to end this month being a lot happier, and not necessarily that it wasn't like a cool achievement. Because I don't know, like everyone was like, "Oh, you're a beast! Like you're reading 100 graphic novels in a month. That's so cool. I could never do that." And I'm like, I barely made it out alive. And granted, like I am just gonna go ahead and like not necessarily toot my own horn, but I'm going to give credit to one, I did take like a week vacation off. Two, I'm like when I have been working, I'm working from home, so it's not like I have a commute or anything. And then three, I don't have kids unless you count the two cats that I have. They're pretty chill, don't take a lot of effort. So I feel like that was a way for me to go ahead and read 100 graphic novels in a month. So if you want to know how to read 100 graphic novels in a month, first, I'm not saying you have to break your foot, but that's what helped me. And because I ordered a ton of books, had a big old to be read pile, and ended up just needing to get through all of these books and justify having spent all of it. And have the time, have a plan. Like I literally put I took a piece of paper and went ahead and listed it by 30 or 31 because July was 31 days. And I'm like, okay, these are the books that I'm going to read each day. Day one, I'm going to read first 4 volumes of Descender. Day two, I'm going to read 5 and 6 and the first 2 volumes of Ascender. So I had a little bit of a plan. So if anyone here wants to know how to read 100 graphic novels in the month, hit me up. You can also you can follow me on Patreon and put some information on there about the whole story. So for as little as $2 a month, you can support a girl in Portland, Oregon, and her comic book buying habit.
Your most wise decision was not ending with Monstrous.
Yeah, that one was. I'm not gonna lie, because I did all 4 volumes in one day, and that was just a lot. I really love this story, but by the end of the fourth one, I'm like, I'm done. I this has to be over. So it was a lot. Any other? I've been loving the comments. Anyone have any comments? Anything? I don't know. Any remender stands in the house? Who just wants to hate me? Yeah. Any other remender stands in the house who just want to shit on me for shitting on Rick Remender?
I'm a low-key Remender stan. I don't get like crazy about it like certain person I'm friends with.
Yeah. So anyone have any other like favorite books that they read that they think I read? I know I went on and on and on about Saga, but seriously, I cannot stress enough about how amazing Saga is. Like you really got to read it. I'm gonna check something really quick here, so give me a second. I might disappear. Okay, we good, everyone. So fun story about Dark Tower. Dark Tower is one of the books that I tried reading by Stephen King, and I think that I had the first 3 books in the series, could not get into it book-wise. Attempted to read the graphic novel, got a little bit through it, and then just couldn't. I couldn't finish it.
The graphic novels are so much better. The Marvel trades because they actually go in chronological order. Plus, Jay Lee's art is right.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Tom King, and I'm just kidding. I'm not going to get into that right now. Your favorite hack/crossover? Cool. Seriously, I'm going to go into this again. Meow. If you like hack slash, I cannot recommend enough following my friend Dr. Chris on Goth Girl Horror. I feel like Dan has like a phone a friend.
Nailbiter.
You were like, oh.
Yes. And The Crow.
So I haven't read that one, but my favorite hack/crossover, I actually, in preparation for one of the episodes that I did with Chris a couple like months ago, I accidentally bought like volume 3, and there was a hack slash. Sorry, my cat was doing something really fucking cute off screen, so I'm like, look at that fucking cat. So if anyone wants to know what I'm looking at off screen, it's the cat. So anyways, for Dr. Chris Radio Horror, for his show, I did I read a hack slash Chucky crossover, and I think it was like just a few issues, and I have like a really soft spot in my heart for Chucky because it was one of the first, like that and Candyman were some of the first like horror movies that I had watched, so I have like a really soft spot in my heart.
I think there's a
for that.
/ Army of Darkness crossover too.
Yeah.
Hex / Ash. I don't know.
Yeah. Hack slash. Alrighty. So my dream comic crossover. I would probably, man, I want to say like Saga. Like, I think it'd be really cool if like Saga and Sandman did something because those are just like my two favorite titles. Definitely not Sandman and Lock and Key. Like, seriously, like, unpopular opinion. So
oh God, here we go.
once again, like one of the first episodes that Dan and I did together, he's on this side of the screen. One of the first episodes that we did together, we talked about Lock and Key, and I was like, I did not like the artwork. I wasn't as harsh as Sydney on that episode where she's just like, it's trash. But honestly, I did not like the artwork on Lock and Key. And then I heard that Lock and Key is going to do a crossover with Sandman, and I wanted to fucking vomit because I did not like the artwork, and Sandman's one of my faves. So, unpopular opinion there. But as far as a crossover, maybe, that's tough. Saga Sandman's like the first thing that comes to mind.
I don't know. I kind of like, just like my food, I don't like it touching. And I don't like the foods I like touching very much, so I keep them separate. So I think I like to keep. Oh yeah, I've got a very, very juvenile palate.
I'm sorry. I was like, I'm totally gonna make fun of you for this later. I'm just kidding. I won't. I'll try not to.
What about East-West Lighthouse crossover?
Man. Yeah, I would 100%. I'd read that. Alrighty. There's still a couple people in the chat. I want to go ahead and just say thank you for watching. I know I'm supposed to tell you to like and subscribe, so if you haven't done that, go ahead and do it. Thank you for all of your wonderful comments. I really appreciate it. Keep some of the questions coming. Favorite Garth Ennis comic? Yeah, I was gonna say, Preacher is definitely it. I feel like there's parts. I will go ahead and 100% be honest. There are parts of Preacher that don't age well.
No.
Like there's some things that like I feel like would I go back and reread it? Maybe if I had to. If someone was like, "Hey Jennifer, write me an article about Preacher," and I'd be like, "Pay me money." Okay, I'll do it. But I don't know. I think that the show was pretty fun for a little bit, but then I couldn't get into it. I think that it definitely fixed some of the mistakes that I feel like they did in the show. So, unpopular or popular opinion there, but I can't think of off the top of my head. I think Garth Ennis has done some Constantine stuff, but I can't like pick that out from other things.
Hitman by him I really liked. It's weird though, going back, and I reread all of Preacher about a year ago, and going in and realizing that the actual villain of the series is Cassidy.
Yeah,
100%. He is the secret villain of the series. Oh, ooh, I see the next question by Me Out, and
yeah. Thank you for all of the incredible comments here. Yeah. But my favorite manga series. This one's really tough because like manga isn't necessarily like too much on my radar. There isn't a series that I'm just like absolutely floored with. I've been loving, if you can count it as like manga, I really love Junji Ito. If you saw earlier, I really enjoy his artwork and his writing. I did recently read Alita Battle Angel, but that was several months ago, and I really enjoyed that. So
go watch the movie if you haven't. Really, seriously.
Oh my goodness, for real! Like I am so disappointed in myself that I slept on that because, man,
bad marketing.
It was so good. It was so good. I'm really glad that movies like that didn't come out right now because man, would that tank. So. Blade the Immortal.
Yes, I have it tattooed on my back. And also have complete polar opposite, Ranma 1/2.
So it's so funny because I went into a local comic book store here, like one that I don't necessarily go to all the time, and the owner there, he was just very, very chatty, which sometimes I appreciate. But anyways, he had a ton of 50 cents books, and or all of the books that were $1, like he was like half off, 50 cents, whatever. So I ended up picking up a whole bunch of them, and as like I brought them up, when I brought them up to the counter, and he's like scanning all of them, he's giving me like play-by-play entertainment on like all of these books. So I pull out I think my partner picked up Ranma 1/2, and the guy was like, huh, haven't heard of this one before. But then like other play-by-play commentary, he commented I got faith, and he said something along the lines of faith, more like, no faith in your diet. No. And I'm just like, yeah,
Oh,
I'm never coming. And then like there's something else I can't even recall. Like I picked up something else in the shop that was 50 cents, $1,
I would have
something
made the
like that.
George Michael
And
joke of you got to have faith. But,
well, and he commented, and he was just like, "Oh, I didn't like this book," and I just wanted to be like, "Cool, then I won't fucking buy it." Like, I don't know why. I get it. You own the shop, dude. I understand that you're entitled to like giving me, a customer, your opinion, but I'm literally buying stuff in your store. I don't need your play-by-play on what I'm getting. I could literally be buying these comics so I can wipe my ass with it. I don't care. Don't like, I'm buying it for 50 cents, dude, and now I'm never even going to come back to your shop because I'm just like, I don't need your like shitty opinions about faith. So, whatever. Alrighty. So, yeah, seriously, thank you for these comments. They're amazing. Upcoming comics I'm most excited about. I'm actually really excited. We both actually, you're over here. We both got the chance to read Dracula Motherfucker. And it took me like a month. Like I was given the advanced preview, and it took me a month to read it, and I'm really excited about it. It's really cool. It's coming out in October. What was it, October 9th or something?
October 7th.
October 7th.
Yeah, also, we got to check out from Mad Cave Dryfoot, which comes out in October as well. That was solicited.
There was another one. Mars was talking about another series.
Stargazer.
Yeah.
And that comes out from Mad Cave same month.
Yeah. I believe this is DJ Albino in Black. Hello. Did anyone check out The Sandman on Audible? So once again, funny story. If you're just tuning in, you know that I read 100 graphic novels this last month. It was a roller coaster ride, and I knew that the Sandman novel, the adaptation, was coming out, and I'm like, I'm gonna get it on day one, and I'm gonna listen to all 10 hours in one day. Didn't happen because 100 graphic novels also happened. So I actually haven't had a chance to sit down and read it, which I probably should, depending on what my work schedule looks like this week and all of that. But I'm really looking forward to it. So I really want to read it.
My only thing, Aubrey Plaza should have been death.
I 100% agree. I love when I saw Kat Dennings as Death, man, like I'm like, that's perfect. She's beautiful. But then when I heard her voice in the little trailer, I'm like, I probably would have gone with someone different, and I would have cast Kat Dennings as Delirium. Now I haven't actually listened to the audiobook, so I don't know how far it goes into the series. But Delirium, one of the endless, doesn't show up until like the second or third book. I think she's not even mentioned till the second, really, and pop up in the third or fourth. But who knows?
I was digging McAvoy.
Yeah, I just need to go ahead and I don't know, just start listening to it tonight. Ranma 1/2 is a classic. Yep. Cool. So there's still a couple of you in chat. I really appreciate you all talking, commenting. I'm giving you all of my popular and unpopular opinions, whether you like it or not. I guess you can not like it, and you can just like fucking thumbs down or whatever, say horrible things about me, whatever, like my hair falling out, whatever. But once again, I just want to go ahead and I want to. I know I'm probably talking to the same like 5 people, so thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, go into the comments, and you can find my Patreon for as little as $2 a month. You can support me doing this, which I really appreciate if you would do that. It's $2, whatever. I get it. How it's $2 and $5 and $10 are the little levels, and I'm probably going to try to do some funner stuff this upcoming. But there's also a link to. You're probably also wondering, for anyone who's here, you're probably wondering why the hell he's here. I'm just kidding.
I'm wondering.
I invited him. I invited him. But I'm here because I read 100 graphic novels this last month in July. It was a beast, but I really enjoyed it. And Dan, I'm trying to point at you over here. So Dan is the host. I'm the co-host, whatever, of Longbox Paradox on Comic Chop News. There's also a link. You can, if you enjoy this witty style of rambling and shit, you can find us on the internet in the link below, where we do a weekly show.
We also have a monthly book club where our other friend Gambit joins us. He's a tattoo artist and very busy, so that's why he's only on once a month. And he's not a huge horror fan, so this is always as interesting of how he takes the books. And we're doing Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes and Jason Sean Alexander, who I forgot to try and invite.
And it's going for anyone who's into the comic book world, comic book sphere stuff. So for a good while, Image Comics was putting out their first trade volume, so the first collected issues. They were doing them for $1, or they were doing them for $9.99, and it seems like they steered away from that. They started going $12.99, $14.99, $6.99, depending, whatever. But so Philadelphia is only $9.99. So what you can do if you want to buy this book and you want to join us for a book club, date to be announced. However, hopefully we can get Rodney Barnes on the show. It sounds like he's really cool about doing this stuff. We invited him. He said he'd love to make it. I know that's not a yes, but we'd really love to see him. We'll probably be a lot more well-behaved than this. So if you want to see us being a lot less wacky. So anyways, you can go to bookshop.org, which is down in the link below. You can get Philadelphia for, I think on there it's like $9.19. You can go ahead and order it for. It's really good. Join us and read it. Or
this has become an infomercial.
Go to really is. I feel like I got to. Yeah, I feel, and you know what? Normally in my videos, I'm like, click the link below where you can find your local comic book store. However, with bookshop.org, and money, instead of going to Amazon and Jeff Bezos and his 10th house and Grimes baby, whatever its name is, instead
Kyle.
Instead of it going to Kyle, you can actually go to bookshop.org. The money goes to, it's like a nonprofit. And so far, originally when I found out about bookshop.org, it was less than $1 million had been donated. The last time I looked, it was close to $6 million had been donated to local stores, including local comic book stores. So, alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and get back to a couple of these comments here. And it looks like favorite Clive Barker movie.
Nightbreed, in particular the Cabal cut, because Clive Barker has basically disowned the whole Hellraiser series.
I was going to say Hellraiser, but that's apparently the wrong answer.
No, no answer is wrong. I'm just saying Scarlet Gospel, he shit all over Hellraiser and how they called him Pinhead. He hates that. He's the Hell Priest.
Hell Priest.
Yes. Emiya, you see, we talk about horror quite a bit on our regular weekly show, so you might be a fan. And for anybody watching Search of Darkness, if you have Shudder, it is 265 minutes, all about 80s horror. I am loving it so far. I am still not through it.
I'm not. I'm not going to go ahead and like speak for us or like what we do on the show, because ultimately I never fucking know what's going to happen on the show. That's just our
We
brand.
don't.
But I would not be surprised if we both watched this on Shudder and then went ahead and talked about it. I don't know if we'll talk about it this upcoming week on the show.
We
But
still
I
need to talk
wouldn't be
about Mark
surprised.
Wahlberg's Fear. I haven't gotten to that
Yeah, I
yet.
don't know. I keep forgetting. So, anyways, we'll probably go ahead and talk about that on our show. It looks like, okay, so now you asked the top 5 graphic novels of the 100. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and edit this a little bit, and because like I read stuff like East of West, Saga, Descender, Paper Girls, which are some Monstrous, which are like my favorite series anyways, but I've already read those, or at least, you know, partially in like single issues and then just reading the trade. So this was one of them. I'm definitely going to go ahead and say Philadelphia was one of them. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I know I already pulled it out earlier. Safe Sex was really good. It is not just very sex positive, but it's also kind of like kink positive, which was very fun. It's something that you don't necessarily get to see a lot in comic books. So I really enjoyed this one.
It's not Faithless.
I also, nah. I feel like I'm having like, I don't know. So anyways, another one that I read that I really enjoyed, Harrow County, was really good. I also, so Clean Room was another one. I reread this one, but I really enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed Gail Simone's writing. Let me go ahead and see another one.
I just feel like a Jenga pile.
Another one. It really is. But like, I don't know if you can really see on here right now. So there's a portion of my shelf right here, like this blue book above my finger, if it's like right there. So that's Saga the big omnibus. Like Saga, yeah. And so right next to it, there's this big gap, and that's where all of the like 9 volumes of Saga were. So like after this is done, I was like, when I'm done with this 100 graphic novel read, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to pose and I'm going to sit here like a badass bee and take a picture with all my 100 graphic novels, and then I'll put them up on the shelf. And I'm not going to get to that today, so they're going to be here for a little bit.
I have to buy a new media shelf. I went on a buying splurge.
Another book that I really enjoyed. I don't know if this would necessarily be in like my like top one, but I also read Redlands, and this one was really good. I feel like this one, not necessarily that it's darker than Sabrina, but it's a little bit more mature than Sabrina.
Is that the Vanessa Del Rey book?
Yep.
Okay,
Joy Belair. Yep.
Yeah.
So this one, where I would say if you liked Sabrina, where that one's very like teen and witchy and it's kind of cute, but also like satanic and dark, this one kind of does the same thing, but it has not older women, but like, you know, not a tween. So I feel like this one I really enjoyed, and it was one of those sleeper hits. It's set in Florida, and I used to live in Florida, so like I felt like this connection to it. So this one was really fun. Another one that I really enjoyed, and I'm not even going to go ahead and pull it out because there were 3 in the stack. But my friend Melchor, he actually suggested The Unwritten to me, and I feel like I've seen this one. It's published by Vertigo, and maybe it's because I thought that it was going to be similar to Fables. I didn't pick it up, even though I love Fables. I did go ahead and read The Unwritten, and that one was a lot more fun than I expected. What else did I read? You had recommended, wherever you are on the screen, I'm going to point over here, Gotham Central by Ruka
Brubaker.
Yeah. So
Greg
I
Rucka
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's so funny because when I had decided my list, I'm like, oh, I'm going to kind of do like theme weeks. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read a week of Image, and then I'm going to read a week of Marvel, and then a week of DC, and then a week of this. didn't happen. I mostly just read Image, and a lot of the books that I read that were new books were suggested to me because I put a call out on Instagram when I was like, after I had broken my foot or before, I really can't remember, but I'm like, hey, recommend a book to me. And I got a ton of book recommendations. So that that kind of prompted a lot of my book buying, was getting suggestions from other people. So I'm not really sure where I was going with that comment, but it's all made up and the points don't matter. Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyways? Most anticipated upcoming horror film. Candyman. Candyman.
Well, if
Candyman.
it
Candyman. Candyman. Yeah, I said
Andrew
it.
Eldritch, Andrew Eldritch, Andrew Eldritch, Andrew Eldritch.
So I'm very excited about Candyman. Like, Candyman was one of the first horror movies that I had watched as a kid, and it scared the shit out of me. And I'm really excited to see. I recently rewatched it, and I feel like it lived up to my expectations. Like, it still stood up and didn't get too cheesy.
Had this been a month ago when I thought that Halloween Kills was coming out, that was my most anticipated, but I guess it's Candyman for this year.
Who
Is
knows?
there
And
another?
who even knows if Candyman will come out?
It is, because
I
they're
hope
doing the
it will.
VOD 17 days after. So I
Got
think
it.
that's
Okay,
set
so
up.
that's
Is
gonna
there
be
a new
how
movie
I
coming out? That might be a horror
is
movie.
is what?
Is there a new Medea movie coming out? Because that's usually a great horror movie.
Usually, I feel like that's their what am I trying to say? Their strategy for Christmas is because that's the, like, that's the way that I typically spend Christmas is at the movie theater. Chinese food and the movie theater is how I usually spend
That's how
Christmas.
I spent Thanksgiving after my mom died. I went and saw Creed 2. Yes, Philadelphia takes
So
place in Philly. Albino DJ Albino Black.
yeah. Cool. So, I've actually gone on. I didn't even realize it that I've gone on for about over an hour and a half now. And I think if someone else has any other questions that they want to ask, it doesn't even have to be comic book related. It doesn't even have to be related to these 100 graphic novels that I read. But otherwise, if you don't have any more like questions or anything, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. So many of you stayed here for a little bit, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the little, like, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. In the description below, there is a link to my Patreon where you can support me for as little as $2 a month. I can't even fathom what that is a day. Like, what, like 20 cents a day or something like that, whatever it is. Maybe 30,
Wait,
40 cents.
I wish you had a
I'm not
person in
sure.
the circle in the corner doing sign language so they also
I
could.
should. Yeah, I should, but so anyways, you can go to my Patreon, you can like and subscribe. My friend Dan over here, we do a show every week, Longbox Paradox, Comic Chop News. That link is also below. And you can also go to bookshop.org to find any of the books that I talked about. I don't even care if you buy Black Science or Low from bookshop.org. Just go ahead and do it. And I may go ahead and do like a long form video of all these books, but you can see some updates that I posted on my Patreon if you want to go on there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And Dan, hope you're over on that side. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. And if
popping
you
in.
ever hear us start a video saying we hate read something, just know you're in for a ride.
Yeah, I assure you, if you enjoyed this, then buckle up, because that's what the weekly show looks like. Alrighty. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you. Good night.